welcome to our Bay Area Housing Market Town Hall. Today we have a full panel, and I think we're going to have a lot of conversation about what's going on with the market because, every market, every neighborhood is different, and we have seen quite a drastic change. We kind of prep you guys ahead last month. We started seeing some major changes, and this month I'm really excited to have some of the top brokers in their area to share with us what's going on with their area. So let's get started right now. First of all, I just want to let everybody know that after we finish this webinar, it's going to be edited and then we'll be posting on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll be notified right away as soon as the videos becomes available. And also, of course, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We are there and sharing a lot of housing market news as well. All right, so let me just go ahead and introduce you guys. First one is Stephen Huang, and Stephen, he is the founder of Ascend Real Estate, and he has tons of industry experience in the city planning and real estate developments and advise sellers and buyers in San Francisco and East Bay. He is a CAR director. If you guys don't know what CAR stands for, it's California Association of Realtor, not the driving car, but it's actually California Association of Realtors. And he has an MBA in real estate from Haas School of Business at UC Berkeley and a master in city planning from University of Pennsylvania. He and his partner, they're raising their twins in the city, which is San Francisco. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, we must be masochists raising kids in the city.
Oh my gosh. I have to say that I have tried bringing my kids when they were younger to San Francisco, and then I was like, this is so hard. No, I'm like going back to Silicon Valley. Everything needs to be in the car.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, let me introduce to next speaker as well. Katie Mo, she is the founder of Connect California Homes, and she knows that real estate is all about connections. And she's been in the real estate for about 20 years now. And she is serving in the East Bay, and he focuses a lot about integrity and compassion. And he just loves to be her clients' advisor, and then most of her business come from referrals and repeat clients. So I'm really excited that Katie is also going to be joining us soon. And last but not least is Samantha Tov from Portfolio Real Estate. Oh, Samantha, I actually met her a few years ago, and I was so blown away by her credential as well. She's the founder of Portfolio Real Estate and the brand that she created to serve the community with really selfless, straightforward, very open-hearted professionalism. And she's been in the business for 14 years. And she is definitely one of my go-to, and also a lot of people go to real estate professionals in Elk Grove. She has also led #1 teams in the area and won many high-level awards. And she has trained countless top producing agents. So thank you so much for being here, Samantha.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. One thing I wanted to add on there, I didn't know that you were one in my bio. I need to update that. But I just got slated as our president-elect for our local association here at Sacramento Association. I'll be the first Asian female president in 2024.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very exciting. And you were also very big with the ARIA organization.
Yes, I am a ARIA Sacramento past president. So I'm also on CAR as a director as well.
And for the record, I just wanted to let everybody know that Samantha, Stephen, and also Katie, we're all, including myself, we're all part of Side Network. We all have, all of you guys have amazing resume and also professionalism. And I'm really proud to be part of this Side Network with you guys and serving along with you guys. And thank you again for being here and sharing your knowledge about your local market. So let's get started. I'm now going to turn to Stephen and let him share a screen and share about your market update.
So today I'm going to go ahead and talk about San Francisco and Marin. I know Katie's going to talk about the East Bay, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you have found as well. So here in San Francisco, so we're looking at median sales price. This is what it's sold for. And I ran it for the last 10 years. So one thing to know is that as much as we're getting maybe bad news out there in the world, prices really have gone up, and they haven't really, even in the worst times, it really hasn't fallen, through the floor or anything. Sorry. And So if we look at median sales price, and this is through May of this year, we're definitely seeing some disruption to the seasonality during the pandemic, but now we're back. And so we're seeing the slowdown in the winter. What's interesting is that now with the spring market, the prices have gone up even more. And in fact, Marin County typically is less than San Francisco, but it's starting to creep at, and in many cases above San Francisco prices. So I want to talk about, this is really the suburbanization trend that we've seen since the pandemic started. So here it is in black and white. I want to talk about inventory as well. Again, it's you can see the relationship between San Francisco and Marin. And then since the pandemic started, it started to flip. The Marin inventory is definitely lower than in San Francisco. And since middle of last year, really since the beginning of last year, the inventory level really has come down quite a bit. But the San Francisco inventory is still within the normal range of the last 10 years, similar to what we saw pre-pandemic. But what we're seeing in Marin is very much more interesting, which is that the inventory has gone way below what it typically is. And even in the really hot 2021 market, we're seeing it fall even lower than that inventory-wise this year. So just looking at the number of listings, so that this is more active listings, so this is more prediction of what's coming. Again, the inventory is still quite low in both places, and Marin in particular, once again, is much lower than it normally has been. San Francisco is, and these are single family homes, by the way. San Francisco is definitely still within the normal range after that big spike right when the pandemic started. So then let's look at days on market. Days on market is quite low. It's still low. I'd be interested to see what happens in June, but as of now, it's really 11 days on market in San Francisco and 8 days in Marin. So you can't really go much faster than that. All right. So now I want to take a look at condos. This is now a very different story. So, we talked about suburbanization. So what we all know during the pandemic, a lot of people don't have to go to work now. So they left their condo in the city and bought a single family home with that nice backyard with parking in the suburbs. So here we are looking at 4 different neighborhoods in the city. Soma and Mission Bay are definitely a little bit closer to job centers, and those condo markets have not done nearly as well. So unfortunately for the folks that bought their lovely luxury condo in that 2018 to 2020 period, their home value still has not recovered. However, if you look at more neighborhoods that are more residential in character, like the Castro Noe Valley, prices there actually have gone up. More recently taking a little bit of a dip, but they're still quite desirable places to live. We keep hearing about offices opening back up. So I personally know people who have moved out to Tahoe during the pandemic and are now moving back in to their vacant apartment condo in the city. So most of these people don't need to sell, and that's what we're seeing, that home values are holding up in the more desirable neighborhoods. Yeah, so the inventory level here is the same story. It's really spiked up during the pandemic and starting to get absorbed, except in the South of Market neighborhood, which before the pandemic is the hottest job market in the whole country. But people haven't been coming back to work, sadly, in the numbers that we've seen. And so the number of listings there has gone up. I think people who have been resistant to selling the last 2 years have finally decided this is time. So yeah, so this is not just for San Francisco, but it's for Bay Area wide. I'm just looking at what happened. So this is the percent of renters in these metro areas that can afford to buy your average home throughout America. And you see that San Jose right there, Helen, in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco, so that covers the East Bay as well. We have the highest percent of people who can afford to buy everywhere else. So They call it the Californication.
Mhm.
Honestly, they don't like us, but we're still living in droves.
It's
And
interesting that I don't think a lot of people have seen that chart. Everybody talks about, how it, I mean, it is very expensive. It's quite unaffordable. But then it's quite interesting to see the percentage here, though.
yeah, and you see that people are moving, your San Jose person bought something in Phoenix, in Minneapolis, and now they don't really want to come back. That's why there's so much resistance about coming back to the office.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this data is shown in a different way. So, look at the home value growth in the suburbs versus urban zip codes. And you see that during the pandemic, things totally flipped, and the suburbs home prices have gone up so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
and hence Sacramento and East Bay have gotten so many of our home buyers, right?
Yeah, and we know who to refer them to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Katie.
send them over. We need buyers. We need buyers.
Yeah. So the trend in San Francisco Metro is repeated in San Jose, maybe a little bit less pronounced, but it is right there.
Awesome.
And finally, my last slide. So we saw the population decrease in the last few years. So let's love to have a discussion about what we think is going to happen next.
Absolutely. I think that is definitely one of the topics we need to talk about, is that we're seeing really huge, drastic population decrease. And as a matter of fact, I have just helped a few of my home sellers who moved to Texas. And I was talking to this A's relocation company, and he was just like, the driver told me, he was like, I've been moving to Texas so much. So we're definitely losing some people over to Texas quite a bit. All right. How about Sam? How's the Sacramento market?
Sacramento market is super busy, super crazy. I think last year I told my agents, it's raining, have your buckets out, work as hard as you can, because this market's not going to sustain, and they're feeling it. I mean, we got a lot of agents that jumped in last year, and they're jumping out because it's like, it's so crazy. It's day and night. And this is probably their first market shift. A lot of people that has not been in the business a long time, hasn't been through the highs and lows. And, when it's raining, everybody wants to jump in. At the local association at Sacramento, we have over 8,300 realtors right now. So we're a very, very big association. So, but I anticipate that by the end of this year and next year, the numbers will actually go down, because there is a lot of inventory. There is a lot of buyers that are holding off. Interest rate went up again today. So every month we're losing more and more buyers, because it doesn't make sense, because they're all trying to jump in because of the low interest rate. Now it's going back up. But you know what? I always tell them, it's going back up, but you don't have to bid 50 to 100 to 200 to 300,000 above list price anymore. So it's kind of balances each other. But you can always refinance later when the interest rate does come back down. But at least you're getting a house at market value right now versus overbidding. But so it's kind of just explaining that to our consumers and our buyers, to give them the feeling that they're not getting like overpaying right now because of the high interest rate. They feel like they're overpaying.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. It's like right now, this is a time where they actually have this leverage to negotiate.
Yes.
Because if the seller really have to put it on the market right now, they really need to sell. Again, a lot of people have been moving a lot. So they
I got clients moving to Texas, client moved South Carolina, all the way, to Tennessee and stuff. But there's a lot of people that are actually downsizing too. So there is a different market. And as agent who's been in the business a long time, we shift where the market is shifting, right? So we got to re-look at our portfolio in the last couple of years. Sure, we rode the wave. It went like this, right? Higher and higher, higher in Sacramento. We love the Bay Area, but once you guys shut down and never have to go back to the office, everybody was moving this way, and we were like working day and night, right? And everyone's like,
are you complaining?
No, I'm not complaining, but it's trying to understand that we helped a lot of clients, bought houses, but there is very little cash buyer that's still coming from the Bay Area. Some of those like newly retirees that are moving here and stuff. So we're getting very little, but as in the beginning, you were talking about the market, Yes, houses, I think our listings are like 12 to 14 days before it goes pending. Sellers are like, oh my God, Sam, first weekend, there's no offers. What do we need to do? Do we need to drop the price? I go, no, mostly we're gonna have to do second weekend open houses.
Yeah.
For 3 years, we've been sitting pretty and never had to do that. But now we're doing second week, third week open houses. But those multi-million-dollar houses, you're gonna have to do 4 or 5 open houses. And it's gonna sit on there a little bit longer because those jumbo loans is not as cheap as those regular loans, right? So it's kind of like we just have to keep marketing to the Bay Area with the multi-million-dollar properties because they can still afford it here. But it's all about location and the schools and stuff. But what fits somebody might not fit somebody, but we have to keep increasing our media, social media and marketing to get these clients to, from the Bay Area to come here.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I want to share with you my slide. Okay, so a little bit about me and my partner. We've been partners for about 14 years now. We've run portfolio. We have about 40 agents, but maybe half of them are that are actively working. I think last year did over $300 million in production. That's how hot the market was because of COVID.
Wow.
So a little bit about our residential market update. This is in 4 counties. You have Yolo County, Sacramento County, El Dorado, and Placer County. So number of homes on market you can see from last March to this year, it's kind of like we're at the same numbers right here from last year to this year. We're almost identical in the amount of houses, but right now we're in May of last year, we were actually a little bit higher in inventory. And right now we're a little bit lower, but what's pending right now is on the high side. So there is a lot of for sales, but we still have a lot of sold, and we're in the middle in the pending between 2,600 to the 2,300. So it's gone up. The market's right here is changing right from 21 to 22. There's 1,000 more homes than last year, that's being sold from a year ago. It's what every day is going to be changing. It all depends on location. If it's still like in Elk Grove, there's certain neighborhoods, once it pops, it's going to sell the first weekend. There's other pockets that's going to sit there. Like I'm showing a house tonight, later on after this. It's been on the market 42 days. I asked the agent, he goes, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's like, and it's a nice house, 2,300 square foot, and it's not selling. But I have a listing and then we have multiple offers the first weekend. So it all depends on locations right now. So right here is the average price per square foot. From last year to this year, it's $317 last year, $363. So the price per square foot from last year to this year actually went up still. Okay, and then this one is from sales price or to original price. We're still getting, right here it says from last year it's 12, 13 percentage wise. We're still at we're going upward to 8.3%. This is from last year's to this year's. So this January, right after the holiday, was like our peak. We're still busy. Interest rate was still slowly climbing. In February, we're still busy. And then after April, we kind of just take a dip. I think in June, we're going to take another dip as well. But we're trying to get all of our approved buyers into homes. But interest rate is still going up. We're just trying to reassure them that they're still getting a good deal. What me and my partner have done is most of all of our listings, we've actually just priced it 5% of what the month before's comps are. So we can still drive in buyers that want to buy and think that they're still getting a good deal, because what's sold in like March and April and May, we're pricing at 5% of whatever sold there. So it's kind of priced below market so we can drive more traffic. So that's one of the tactics that we're doing. Right here is showing from last year to this year about the percentage in prices. It hasn't really, meaning certain prices, it's gone up and some we're selling at market value, and some of them we're getting a little bit over, and some of them you're getting a little bit below. But what's the thing is, last year you couldn't get any VA or FHA buyer into contract. This year you can. Sellers are desperate and they're changing their mindsets. FHA buyers better than no buyers. A VA buyers better than no buyers. So they're still trying to sell it. They know, they feel, and they know that we're still at the peak in our price per square footage. So if they can sell it, If they have to do a little bit of repairs, they're willing to do that. So sellers are a little bit more negotiable. Right here is a month of inventory from, we actually have a lot of inventory right now currently from last year to this year. If you're seeing that, we doubled the inventory. So 100% of last year's inventory from here to here, we actually have doubled the inventory. So if you guys have buyers that want to move to Sacramento, we got plenty of homes. They'll probably get it at list price, or they can probably negotiate and get a little bit below. But we do have a few buyers that think that they can lowball 50 to 70 to 100,000 under list, but that's not the case. I mean, some sellers like, I don't need to sell. I can let it sit there. I have money. It's okay. If I don't get my price, I can pull it off the market. So it's kind of about the mindset. It's not like the REO days where it's going to drop that crazy. Our sellers right now have the option of selling or keeping it.
And REO days, though, is very different because you're dealing with corporation, like the banks, the people who work for the bank, and then they have the whole process. It's like, okay, if you give me this price, I just need to negotiate. So it's different from buying directly from the home seller, homeowners, because they are very much emotionally invested into the property.
Well, one of the things I also tell my agents is, you guys need to start, if you're kind of slow right now, start working on some of your NAR destinations. One of them I would see probably in the future, maybe would be a short sale destination, which is the SFR, short sale foreclosure. So you understand what it all is, so you can gear if it ever comes to that, because people did overbid for their houses a couple of years ago, 100, 200,000, and with the market shifting, they might like, oh, maybe I should sell my house or not. But preparing yourself for the future, preparing yourself for the unknown, it's better than not doing anything. It's trying to re-educate ourselves. I see a lot more agents are getting more designation, like the senior specialist, because they have more time on their hand, because not a lot of buyers are looking, but there's a lot of sellers that want to sell. So we're getting inventory that's just sitting there. So, you have to look at your database, look at your portfolio, look at your everyday marketing plan or your business. How are you going to pivot to the future of what's to come? So that's what I'm training my agents to do.
Hey, Sam, I just want to point out 1.2 months is still very, very low.
It is.
Well, here people want to see it on them. They're like, oh, what's wrong with the house? Because that's never happened. They've been so like, oh my God, we got a bid right now, first weekend. I don't even put down when the offers due. Before we put the house on the market on a Thursday, we get multiple offers, review them all on Monday, pending by Tuesday. Now they're like, when are offers due? I go, I'll submit offers as they come in, and it's up to the seller if they want to pick and choose, or we'll wait over the weekend. But before, everybody was waiting till like 1 hour before the due date and submitting the offers. Now it's like, it's crazy. It's
right.
different, right? Like I had one in Roseville, they already bought a house in Texas that I referred to. And they're like, what's going on? First weekend, we had 40 showings, no offer. What's wrong? And trust me, the people that came in, wow, I love your house. The house is perfect. This is everything I want, but still no offers. Second weekend open house, we got multiple offers, and we got them still over list price, 37,000. Sellers like, oh my God, that's so scary. First weekend, no open. How did you do that? Second weekend. So it's getting,
the psychology of the buyers are very different right now.
When they don't want to buy, they don't want to buy. When they want to buy, the same people like, oh shit, they got an offer. I thought we were just going to wait until they drop their price. No, they start getting their offers in. So follow up is key as a listing agent. If you have interested people, make sure get their contact, follow up, because maybe they're kind of scared to be the first one to put in an offer, but if they see other offers, they might want to put in their offer right away, because that is their dream home. Okay. And then this one's a little bit about the residential income, because I know Helen focuses a lot. She's the commercial queen right here. So just if you have investors that want to invest, multi-unit is on the rise. There's a lot of investors that want to buy duplexes, fourplexes, or multi-units or apartments. So I just pulled this trend together as well for you guys. Number of multi-units is not as crazy as the single family homes. So from last year, this year is kind of the numbers is almost the same. We've actually gone down. They don't last as long as the single family home. They sell quite fast. I know We just got a client in contract on a duplex and they still had to overbid a little bit to get it, removing contingencies and whatnot. So people want that multi-unit, especially closer to downtown, midtown, because it's still happening. Downtown Sacramento is still ever growing because of the Kings Arena, downtown mall, and all the new stuff that's coming. I think next year, they've already got the approval from the tree planting. They're building a Japanese garden with over 150 cherry trees in downtown. So it's going to be, it's partnered with the sister city in Japan. So it's going to be beautiful. Next April, they're going to have the grand opening. So we're going to unveil that. So many things are happening in Sacramento and people want to move here for that. But the rent prices have gone up the roof. It's crazy. For a 2-bedroom, 1-bath near Midtown, you can get close to 3,000. It's all about the location and the amenities and whatnot. Even single family homes right now, it's like before, like a duplex in Oak Park near the Med Center was only getting like 15, 16. Now, if it's updated, you can get over 2,000. So everything's, if you see Bay Area prices of rents going up, Sacramento is going up as well. And we're getting more people that they can actually afford to buy, but they rather rent. They feel like the market is changing and they're not certain. We used to have a lot of people that was transplanting from the Bay Area here for jobs. But when after searching for a few homes, they actually said, oh, I don't want to transfer. I want to stay in the Bay Area because the prices of cost of living is kind of still expensive. Some people from the Bay Area are still living at home or with other family members. So it makes more sense if they wanted to wait. Right here is the average continuous days on market from list price to original price. This is again for multi-units, 2 units or more from last year and this year. You know, we've gone up a little bit, 4%, but a lot of people that owns multi-units, duplexes, two units or more, they keep it for long term. You don't see many of that wants to sell, but we do have like one investor that has a big portfolio. He is selling a lot of his single family homes and his duplexes because he wants to buy a bigger apartment unit or commercial property. So they're diversifying their portfolio from residential to commercial or to bigger like apartment or hotels or gas stations. So everybody's kind of shifting. With the stock market going down, a lot of people are trying, oh my God, I'm losing so much in my stocks. I might as well just move it to real estate because it's more secure, I guess. So that's some of our clients' mindset right now.
Just a quick note on the commercial real estate side, like you mentioned, the apartment buildings, is that because the interest rate has gone up so much, cap rate obviously is going to go up, which will kind of affect the valuation of commercial real estate because it's based on cap rates, right? So it's really interesting. We're going to see that a lot of people are going to jump into. I mean, it's already always hot market for apartment buildings, but it's going to be even crazier if they don't need financing because this is the time you really can get a deal in apartment buildings.
Yes, absolutely. I just had a commercial agent lender from Chase, and he came and talked to my agents and talking. I mean, their interest rate's not bad. It's probably cheaper than buying a single family home. They're very competitive. I'm going to share the contact with you later, Helen. Great guy, great diversify. He has a lot of clientele off market throughout the nation. I mean, he was sending me stuff in Beverly Hills and stuff. I was like, damn, I need to put a portfolio of partners together and buy stuff because it still makes sense to buy a commercial, but you have to have the capital, working capital. Right here, price. So medium, sold, and for sale from current to a year ago. The inventories has gone up a little bit in the prices. Right here, it's sold, it's coming down, but for sale, we're still getting the price per square foot right here. So it's still moving and it's not going like crazy high or dropping. So right here, this is the inventory. So this is not too bad. I mean, it's going back up, but there's still a lot of investors that's doing a lot of 1031 exchange right now is what I'm seeing. A lot of our offers that's getting in, they're selling stuff and then just moving it into other multi-units. We have more and more buyers that's looking for multi-units. They're like, I know the rents are going up. Can you find me a duplex? Can you find me a fourplex or an apartment or stuff? So everybody's looking. So we signed up for CoStar at Portfolio. We do have a commercial expert or a sales manager, Danny Lee. That's all he focuses on is commercial leasing and commercial strip malls and stuff. So it's kind of like the added value for our company is having someone that knows that here locally that can handle all these questions and whatnot. And that way we can service our clients a little bit better, having a local expert within the company.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. This is amazing. Sacramento market seems like it's still really, really hot.
Yeah.
And how about Katie? Really curious about East Bay as well.
Thank you guys. That was really, your data was amazing. All of you guys, thank you for sharing that. I feel like East Bay, kind of same story, different area, a lot of what we're seeing. And Helen, you kind of tapped on it, and it's really something I've been trying to talk about and dig into as much as I can, which is the psychology of the buyer right now. I think that for us in the East Bay, Q1, like everyone else, off to the races, like the wild, wild west. It was, I think for us, average days on market in January was 5. I think that we hit 7 days. We sat about 7 days in most of our East Bay markets, meaning like Alamo down to Pleasanton, Livermore, which is primarily where the markets that I follow and serve. I think we hit 7 days. We were always around 7 days. And then for us, it was right around the first or second week of April, everything just started to change. And just a very different world. Sam, you kind of alluded to it. I love this market, quite honestly. I wish I had buyers that would want to take a part of it. I think that all of us got into this business because we want to serve, we want to build relationships, we want to feel like we are helping problem solve and being able and actually find a solution, to work with sellers, to work with listing agents, to work with buyers agents and make a deal happen is awesome. And I think that there's a lot of that to be had in this market. We just have to inform and educate our buyers to let them know that this is still happening. I think for us, a lot of what we experienced, again, first quarter, really last year, but primarily when looking at 22, is a lot of our buyers were coming from the tech sector and, making these crazy offers, 400 over, 600 over, and they were just liquidating stock to help kind of offset that. And as we all know, that's really not an option for many people anymore. So I believe that for the buyer pool out where we are, most of our buyers coming over from Silicon Valley, coming from the city, coming from the peninsula, a lot of their financial strength was in their stock portfolio. And that was kind of how they were offsetting rising prices, potential for rising interest rates, which we now know has happened. So it's just a lot of external influences that all kind of happened all at once. And it just put a lot of things at a grinding halt. So I will share my screen. Just a quick caveat. I primarily focused on, I live in Pleasanton. We are a team of 5 people. We have someone on my team who is in Oakland, Danville. We've got a couple in Pleasanton, one in Castro Valley. Our primary market is really Tri-Valley, Danville through Livermore. So Stephen, I hope I didn't disappoint. I didn't really get into Oakland or Walnut Creek or any of those areas. Okay, so first slide right here, really what I wanted to look at, you guys, is the historical. And I put this together looking at Dublin, Pleasanton, and Livermore. And I have this on a trend graph on another slide. When we look back at 2021, again, wild, wild west, our overall sold inventory, historically, as you'll see, Dublin, we sold, this is all single family detached homes. In Dublin last year, we sold 564 houses, average list price 1.4, average sold 1.5. So, things, again, selling, listing here, selling over, consistent with everywhere in the Bay Area. Pleasanton sold inventory, 857 homes. Again, you can see your average list price versus average sold price. And then Livermore, always higher in terms of their total number of units sold, 1,251 homes sold, average, again, a little bit lower entry point. Where we are so far, we are 6 months into the year. Dublin, so far we have 68 homes currently today, talking about inventory. I think most of our homes during the first quarter of the year, we were not over 30 for our active inventory. So this is a huge increase across all of these markets. Pleasanton actually hit the century mark last week, really for the first time in years, which was insane. I pulled up the MLS and I was like, oh my God, we're at 103 houses.
Mhm.
Like, this is insane, which is insane for us.
We used to say that we don't have enough homes to show our clients.
Now it's like, I get the phone calls for people, oh, can I come between this time and this time because I'm showing 5 houses? Like, when did that, usually it's like one at a time. So I think what's interesting, again, I'm trying to really, really dig into the data and talk about like what is happening. We are still very early in this shift, and the data, as we all know, is just starting to trickle out. Closings in May, closings in June, to really see what is happening. If you look at Dublin so far, first half of the year, we're still trending, we're selling over average list price. So prices are still trending up. Pleasanton, on the other side, actually the first half of the year, 96 homes on the market as of today, average list price 2.3, average sold 2.2. So first 6 months of the year through today, we're actually starting to see a sold price under a list price, which is the first time that's happened in a long time. And then when you look at Livermore, they're the same way. Average list price 1.5, average sold price 1.4. So, you know, I have sellers who are reticent to do these price reductions, but we're seeing that as well. And this is the data that they need to see. Again, in this career, I've been doing this for 17 years, and someone, I think Sam alluded to it, that there's a lot of people that have not experienced a shift yet or lived through this. So it's really, this is really where we stand out from the crowd, where we can sit down, have those hard conversations up front, and really just prepare and educate and inform our clients, just so that there's no surprises. Nobody likes them. So I'm trying to follow the data as much as I can. When you get through this, so again, this is again kind of looking at homes sold in the Tri-Valley back over since 2017. Total units, I mean, the top line is Livermore, the middle one is Pleasanton, the bottom one is Dublin. What's super interesting is, you know, Livermore sits right around, you know, a little over 1,000, and then it shot up in terms of total number of units sold in 2021, settling at about 1,200, a little over 1,200 total units sold. Pleasanton over, I think we're 900, a little under 900 total units sold. And then in Dublin, total units sold about a little over 500. That was last year in 2021. So when you look at sold units in the first 6 months of the year, Dublin's at 164, Pleasanton's at 289, and Livermore's at 412. So we are trending, and this chart on the left is single family detached homes. So we are trending. Sales volume overall so far for 22 is, at this point, we have some room to catch up if we're going to try to get there. We usually do. I'd be curious to talk to people and understand your seasonal norms and how the other parties on the town hall are kind of explaining the fact that we are in our market, June, July, and August typically are quieter months. We kind of tend to say this is when we've hit cruising altitude, where people kind of calm down. We're still here, but it's not explosive. So we're in our cruising altitude season. However, we also have these outward external influences that are dampening the market even more. So I'd be curious to put it back on the group and understand kind of how you guys are evaluating seasonal shifts with these other shifts. So I put that question to the group.
That is actually a really great question. And I agree. If anybody has some of your input to use, definitely I would love to hear from you guys. Use that Q&A box, type in your question and answer, or just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. But that is a really good segue for us to go into talking more about that external factors. I mean, now we see the statistics, but then, okay, now we're looking at housing market, right? I'm not going to share a screen, but let's just talk about it, because in my mind, I kept thinking, okay, people always ask the first question. So where do you think this housing market is going to go? Do you think the price is going to come down? What's going to happen? How long is this slump going to last? So I was like, well, let's look at a few factors. The housing market, what's causing this slump? It was the inflation, right? And because of inflation, the Federal Reserve, they said like, now we have to raise rate to curb that inflation. And because they have to raise rate to curb that inflation, and then all of a sudden the market kind of freaked out, they got scared, and the stock market was like, well, is it working or not? And then the stock market go up one day and then go down one day and up and down, up and down. It just like, people just don't know what to do. And then like you guys had mentioned earlier, a lot of their down payment relies so much on the stock market. So they're like, I can't commit to it. Well, what happens like the 2 days later, the stock market crashed and I lose my down payment. Then on top of that, of course, we have the mortgage rate increase. And because of the stock market fluctuations, that can also affect our employment. But at the end of the day, then we go back to, wait, but no matter what, we still have very low housing supply. We have more demand than the housing supply. So where are we? How long is this slump gonna last? I mean, I would love to hear from you guys to see what you guys think as well.
Well, I mean, credit scores for mortgage applicants have not gone down. So that's a major difference from 2008, is that these are real buyers, and people that own their homes are almost always above water. So they don't have to sell. What we're seeing in San Francisco, definitely many fewer offers than before. And then strangely, with some condos, even if you drop the price, the market is not going to respond. So instead, a lot of people are just going to pull it off the market and rent it out. But someone had the theory that in the next few months, it's going to be interesting because the homes that really haven't sold, and because there's no interest in them, they're not going to sell for another few months. And so if there's going to be a price drop, that's when you're going to see it. But it's not going to be indicative of the overall trend. It's just timing, because things are moving way too fast. We've never seen interest rate go up 3/4 of a point in 1 month, and then possibly 3/4 of a point the next month.
Well,
So,
that is a good point. So some buyers are like, oh, I don't want to buy right now because I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna wait. But the interest rate keeps going up. So how would you advise buyers? It's like, well, so should I buy it now? Because in a sense, right now, because there's no buyer really on the market, you get to negotiate with the sellers. And if you wait, you might hit 6.5 later.
I mean, I think one of the things we're talking about, as we all believe in, there's a space and a time for, certain types of real estate investments. But at the same time, like when you look back over the 30-year data of real estate in the state of California, every single time we see either a blip or a flat line, it is followed by an increase. So who knows what that rate of increase is going to be. But when you look at a 30-year period, it shows that real estate is the best long-term investment. So I think, Sam, you said this, if you want to buy a house, buy your house. And when rates change, put yourself in a position where you are secure. I tell people all the time, like, put yourself in a position where you can ride out anything. Don't overspend. Do what's best for you and your family, whatever your personal situation is, but put yourself in a situation where you can ride out some sort of blip. And in 10 years, you're going to be great and golden on the other side of it. But you just have to think of it in that way. And if there is a change or a window of opportunity to refinance, you take it. You just take it. But it's all about setting yourself up for success and understanding that this is a long-term plan. I mean, I have a friend, it's funny, I was thinking of you, Sam. I'm from Sacramento, and a very good friend of mine owns a townhouse on 52nd Street, like 52nd and J. I mean, it's a golden rental. And she literally was talking to her yesterday, and she's like, well, we're just so crazy and the market's changing. Like, should I sell it and just like put that money in my bank? And I was like, what? Like, who are you talking to?
They got a house coming up and they're there. She wants to downsize into a single family home.
It's a rental property. It's a rental. And I was like, you are cash flow positive. You bought this thing in 2007. What are you doing? Like, keep it. And so it's just, you just have to remind everybody that it's the long game. It really is the long game. And it is a better use of your dollar if you can truly look at it as a long investment.
Yeah, I mean, I have buyers that bought, they go, wow, the interest rate's going up and up. And then after they close, they go on Zillow, they go, wow, I have 50,000 equity. I go, see? So, situations like that, they feel like they got a deal after I go, Zillow's a third party. That's not accurate, but I swear consumers go buy it
I
religiously.
know.
But like, I just closed one this week, and the day after it closed, they pull up Zillow. Like we talked about it before we went into escrow, it was this amount. After we closed, it went up 50,000. I go, see, 49,000 instant equity. They go, thank you so much. Even though interest rates are higher, they close, and they close right in between this, before the interest rate went up again. And some of these people, they have to know, if they don't buy, the price of a home keep going up, interest rate keep going up, they should just buy. If it fits their needs, we don't pressure them to buy. They have to, whatever makes sense for them. But also a lot of people are buying because they're getting evicted by landlords because they can raise the rent, or they want to take advantage and put the house up for sale and cash out. So we've been seeing all kinds of different shifts. So everybody's a case by case.
Yeah, I mean, cash is literally going out of style, right? High interest rate. But if you look at mortgage interest rate compared to inflation, it's actually mortgage interest is negative. Sure, your neighbor that refinanced at 2 to 3%, lucky them, but 5 to 6% is still cheaper than inflation.
Totally. I mean, right now the mortgage rate, right, for high balance conforming is already hitting what, 5.75. It's getting 6. Starting to hear, sometimes you hear 6%. And when I first so I'm really excited about this period of time because I've been looking to invest. And by the way, if anybody is considering doing cost segregation, you need to take advantage to buying an investment property this year to take advantage of that 100% bonus depreciation. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. Next year, you don't get 100%. Anyhow, so I am a little excited because it reminded me of my 2008 at the time, the market that crashed hard, but and then since 2012, it's been going up. And I'm like, when are we going to have that opportunity again? And I think this is the time. And I feel this is not going to last for a long time. I really don't think so, just because of the fact that, I mean, I know our markets, they keep saying like, oh, we're going to go into recession, but the fundamental of our economy is really not that bad. We're artificially slowing it down.
Agreed.
Right now. Yeah. So once we see the inflation comes down, people's confidence coming back. I think it's not going to last more than 6 months. What do you think?
I tend to agree that, I mean, if we had a whiteboard and we wrote down all these influences that are affecting buyer confidence and the psychology of people in this market, Helen, to your point, once one or two of those things go away, everyone's going to come back into the market. I just think, I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know what that catalyst is going to be. But you even alluded to this, like every data point that comes out from NAR or CAR is that we still are in a housing shortage. We still do have less homes to sell than we have people that want to buy them. We are not building fast enough. None of that has changed. Right. So for me, I'm kind of talking to my clients and just saying, you know what, hey, let's just take summer. Like if you don't have to sell, do not sell. And let's see what happens. There is a lot right now. I kind of feel like we're in a settling. We're settling somewhere. I don't know where we're going to settle, but we're settling. We're not dropping, we're settling. And I just, if people can be patient and not rush it. But from a seller's perspective, whereas buyers, I'm like, get out there, buy. This is a great time for you. So much opportunity for buyers. Absolutely.
And just a little statistics, it's like talk about nationally, the US housing market supply shortage. We are short for about, there's statistics from 3 to 5 million units for the country. And just California alone is about 2 million units. So, I mean, oh, by the way, there's this one episode by CNBC. It's called Overpriced, Overwhelmed, and Over It by Kenneth Nguyen. Did you guys watch that? It's amazing.
I'm writing it down.
I think she touched on everything, because some people blamed it on landlords. Some people blame on house flippers for the housing pricing. Housing prices go up so much and there's no more affordable housing. But then they also look into the, is the policy, the politics, right? I mean, there are so many developers want to develop here, but how long does it take to develop? I have down the street from my house is this huge project that's been going on since my kid was kindergarten. And then now he's already going to middle school and still hasn't broken ground yet. But that's how long it takes.
Mhm.
So Folsom, at Folsom here, it took them 20 years to get all those development done, and they're building 10,000 homes up there. And it's selling like hotcakes right now, but it literally took them 20 years to get all that development, all the plans, all the infrastructures back doing it. So I feel you. I mean, next door to my house, the church sold off a piece of their land and they're building 14 homes right next to my house. I'm losing my privacy. But there's a lot of infill, and the city make deals and selling it without asking the consumers, without asking the neighbors, and just there's a lot of little pocket developments in different areas right now.
Yeah.
So there is a high need, and people love new homes.
Absolutely.
And I love that the builders are coming back to us. They're like, we need you again. The co-op's coming back.
That's true. At one point, we actually did not get compensated, right, by the developers, and now they want us back. But it is, I think it's so interesting to see, like you guys saying, all these external factors and how this is going to change. None of us has a crystal ball, and we can only predict as much as like using common sense and also psychology of buyers. Unfortunately, our is so interesting. If we really take a step back, I think we need to tell our buyers to take a step back and just think about it. By the time you think it's time to go into the market, that's probably a little too late. You already missed the boat. And I feel like right now, listen to those like people you can trust, realtors that you can trust, and look at the market, because we are really literally telling you that the sellers want to sell. If they're selling, they want to sell. And this is time for you to negotiate and just make an offer and take this interest rate.
Yeah, one thing you might note is that there's so much complaint about congestion in airports. So many buyers are traveling right now, revenge traveling this summer.
Yes.
Another thing you might notice is that we just in the US lifted testing requirements. What we haven't seen in the last 2 years is international buyers.
Oh, good point.
Yes.
They're going
I
to
started to see more international buyers. Absolutely.
I feel that's what I was telling some people, and I was talking to Alan Chang, who was a past national president for ARIA, and he's and a few other people. They're like, well, with COVID and shutting down the international buyers, we haven't seen that flood of international buyers coming into this market yet. So I feel like it's gonna pick up with them international buyers coming, sweeping up all these real estate as well. So if people want to buy, they shouldn't wait. If it makes sense for them, if they can afford it, they should buy and refinance later. But I feel like if you don't have to bid crazy overpriced right now, it's a good time to buy. I'm actually getting my daughter approved to buy right now too. So
That's awesome.
Some people might think like, oh gosh, you realtors always say this is a good time to buy. This is the right time to buy no matter what, right? I think if you're buying as your home, anytime is a good time to buy, as long as you plan on living there for 10 plus years. However, if you're investors or flippers, I did tell my clients like, hold off, this is not the right time for you to flip right now. It's definitely not. And now flip back to home sellers though. So if your home sellers, the property's not moving or they're thinking about putting it on the market right now, where summer's coming up, and Katie, you mentioned that summer typically is actually a slow season, and like a lot of sellers actually is like, oh, I thought summer is busy. I'm like, no, summer is actually slow. So what would you suggest sellers to do?
It's funny. I think again, we're very back to basics. I think proper planning, proper preparation. I was joking with someone, the P's of real estate: planning, preparation, and pricing. I think taking the time to do that is really important. For me, I'm actually really intentionally talking to a lot of clients, almost already planning for next year, talking about 2023, and taking just going through it. And it's a lot to move, and it takes a lot of time, and nobody likes to do it rushed. So I think again, watching the market, I'm trying to give updates, give data points, trying to provide them with information that they can't find on Zillow. For example, again, my other friend talking about Zillow, there was like a $300,000 variance in the valuation that Zillow gave her on her home. And it's either worth somewhere between $1 million and 1.3. It's like, okay, well, I said that means nothing. And so I think trying to just give accurate information and be local, be the resource, not something. We are so micro. The Bay Area is amazing, but as you know, Northern California, like you go one county over and it's totally different.
Mhm.
And so I think being that resource for them, and I always say to people, my job is to give you the most information. And if that tells you not to move, then I've still done my job.
Yeah,
If that
exactly.
to me is 100%. I am just as happy if you say, oh my God, thank you so much. We're not going to move. Then I've still done my job.
Absolutely. What about you, Stephen? Have you talked to any sellers?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of people are thinking about selling or we're bringing on listings this summer as well. So if you need to sell, there's no reason to wait until the fall. We have the election, mid-year election coming up. Usually people pause for a few months,
Yep.
or at least I should buyers do.
That's
So
another external factor, huh? Right.
yeah, just so many. So I think the question is, if you need to buy real estate because you're going to have a baby or you're getting married, the question is not whether you should buy or not, but is where should you buy and what you should buy. So yeah, because real estate, as we know, is very local. We just saw that how every market is so different.
Absolutely.
And if you need to sell, what are you going to do with your money? Are you going to put it into crypto? Nope. Are you going to put it into stocks? Nope.
Oh, did you see how crypto, I mean, crypto for me, maybe I kept telling us, maybe I'm just old school. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it as an investment. I feel like it's more of I feel like somebody's gonna like, what are you talking about? But yeah, to me, crypto is kind of like gambling. I don't feel like it's an investment. So I'm just gonna stop it at that. But I absolutely agree. And Sam, how about you? Do you have any advice for sellers right now?
If seller wants to do any upgrades for their house, they should consider it if they're thinking about selling in the next 2 to 3 years, because everybody's backlog, a lot of contractors, a lot of handymans, everybody has months out. Like I'm selling houses to my client, they want to remodel. All my vendors like, oh, I can't get to you until September, October, November. I mean, and appliances, I ordered my appliances last year and they told me I was supposed to get it in January. And they said, now I'm not getting into the end of July. But like high-end appliances like Thermador, it's a 2-year waiting list to get it now. So if they're thinking,
I have my kitchen. I bought my Thermador appliances last April and I got
Did you
most
get
of them.
it?
I still have one piece and it's been 14 months. I'm still waiting for it.
see, they told me they were going to expedite it. I'll get it. And I renovated my kitchen just for the appliances. My kitchen's finished, renovated, but I have no appliances. So if you're thinking about making the change or doing any kind of improvement, do the improvement, enjoy it for a couple of years before selling it. But there is a long waiting list for high-end stuff and contractors and vendors and whatnot. You don't have to do it all at once. Do what you can enjoy right now. And if you do sell in a couple of years when your kids graduate, just planning ahead, but live comfortably. And instead of just renovating and making it all new and then selling it, you never got to enjoy it. That's one of the feedbacks that we get from our sellers. I guess I should have done that while we're still living here so I can enjoy it. That carpet really bugged me, but now it looks so nice. So you have that conversation with yourself, dig deep. If you're going to spend the money, spend it now, enjoy it a little bit, and then think about selling it later. And if you want to sell it, you're ready. And you don't have to wait in that transition, because if you're downsizing or upsizing, who knows? Even if you're not looking the mindset, but if you see a house that's like, you got to have it and your house is not ready, guess what? That house will be gone. So plan ahead is what I tell my sellers.
I cannot agree with you more. We're all like nodding because we all hear from the sellers. It's like, oh, I should have done it earlier. At least I get to enjoy it. It's like, yeah, it's really, I mean, right now we have supply chain issues. So that's another external factor. But otherwise, remodeling doesn't take that long. Something simple without structural change doesn't take that long. And yeah, having a nice kitchen, I'm so happy it's finally done. It was 3 months of no kitchen, but now it's done.
We're starting on Monday.
I guess we're all in the same boat trying to get our kitchen done during this.
We're starting on Monday and all of our appliances have been sitting in our garage since March.
At least you got it. I'm still waiting for mine.
I know.
Yeah, it's we were same thing. I can't believe we were all doing this, but then this is actually it's because the market is slow. That was a good advice just now. Like, hey, if you're a homeowner, even
Yes.
you're not thinking about selling right now, maybe you can talk to a realtor, right? And then say, hey, I want to remodel because you sometimes I see some of the homeowners, they do their remodeling. I'm like, you're not really appreciating the value of the property.
Some sellers think that we can make magic happen. They're like, okay, I want to list my house next week. Can you get your vendors in and make magic happen? I go, no, everybody's weeks out, months out. And, it's like, we can make magic, but it takes time. But if you start prepping now and having that conversations, like I listed a house in Roseville. We talked to them last summer. They're contemplating about moving. They are moving to Texas. They got a house and now they're like, we did everything you told us last summer. I added the recessed lights. I changed all the carpets. We got to enjoy it for 6 months and now we get to sell it. I go, I love you. I wish all my sellers was as understanding as you and did everything I said and they got to enjoy it. Now they can move on and the next person gets to enjoy all the updates. But by the time they were ready in contract in Texas and putting their house on the market, it was literally days. All I needed to do was send out a professional photographer, videographer. They're clean freaks. So the house was like perfectly staged, crate and barrel style. I go, I wish we had more sellers like that. Just actually took my advice, did it, got to enjoy it. And now they're on to the next chapter without second guessing. Should I sell? Should I not sell? Oh, it looks nice. They got to enjoy it. They love it. And they're really, really happy.
Oh, I cannot thank you guys enough. This is so fun. And I love sharing statistics and then talk about the market. And then, I encourage everyone to really consult your realtor, right? They are the experts. They've sold, if not thousands, will be at least hundreds of homes. So in their career. So be sure to pick one that you can trust, like the ones over here, and really focus on, because I know each one of us, we really focus on education. And if you're a realtor or real estate agent who just started coming into this industry, you're feeling a little bit scared right now, don't be scared. This is the time where you really polish your education, get your destination, and just educate yourself as much as you can. I think we all went through that greatest recession in 2008. And if we can survive, you can survive too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. And I'll see you guys next month. Thank you so much, Sam, Katie, and Steven.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.